And solving the housing crisis will require more than slogans and studies. It will take leadership that understands how governing works, how to unlock the resources to be creative, partner with communities, and empower the private sector, and ensure that state government is an ally, not a barrier. And sometimes there are places that will require us to stand up and fight too, like we have done over the past few legislative sessions to help keep mobile home parks from being sold to out-of-state private equity companies who jack up the rent or kick out the residents. Instead of allowing that to continue to happen, we have worked together to invest in solutions that help mobile home parks form co-ops so that people can own their own property together. It is an awesome solution and among the battles worth taking on to keep Maine a state where we can afford to stay. So building more housing shouldn't be a fight, but we know we are going to need to wage some battles and stand together to make the progress we need. And that's what I want to do as Maine's next governor, and why I'm releasing a bold plan today to create more housing that is affordable to Mainers. So here are the highlights of what we want to do. Number one, as governor, I will invest $100 million a year, every year, to build and preserve affordable homes across our state. We'll build rentals and ownership homes and use programs that work, like the Rural Rental and the Affordable Home Ownership Program. Now that's a good idea, right? Yes. We're going to take on corporate greed and out-of-state investors who are buying up those mobile home parks, driving up rents, and pushing families out. We're going to make it easier to get projects built with smarter permitting, faster approvals, and partnering with communities to grow local support. I will set a 90-day deadline for state permit approvals. I'll grow the construction workforce and the businesses we need to build our homes by investing in 1,000 apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships per year in partnership with unions and businesses. I'll make free community college permanent so more Mainers can join the trades, start construction businesses, and help build our future. These are great paying jobs. They're important to our state, and we need to ensure everyone understands just how important they are to the future of our economy and our state. And lastly, I'll work to stem rising homelessness. The homelessness we are seeing in Maine by supporting eviction prevention, implementing the nation-leading work to end chronic homelessness, partner with cities and regional governments to better shoulder these responsibilities, and provide the much-needed housing for veterans, seniors, and families in need. And as I committed on Tuesday, we will work to end veteran homelessness in my first year in office. This plan is bold because a crisis demands boldness. It's urgent because our workers, our seniors, and our families cannot wait, and neither can our communities and our economy. And it's achievable because Maine people know how to get things done. Maine is a big state, every town is different, but our challenge is shared. Too many people are struggling to afford the basics. Too many kids are growing up without stability, and too many of our young people, our workers, are leaving because they can't afford to stay. This plan is meant to build and meet the scale of the challenges and the complexity of what we face now in Maine. So this plan is about providing hope for people about the future of Maine. We all know that Maine is the best state in the country. We do this work because we love this place and our people. And ultimately, this plan is to help more Mainers achieve the dream of owning a home or finding a rent they can afford so that they can stay in Maine. Now, the experts behind me want to hear every single policy detail and all the finer points, but I'm not going to bore you anymore. I'm not going to dig into the policy. I'm going to direct the media to our website and the plan we are releasing today. Many of these folks are going to join us at a happy hour tonight in Portland. You're all welcome to party with us. We need to celebrate what we need to do in housing. But again, none of this works. None of this matters unless we win elections. I think the good news is that over the last couple of years, I've worked with Republican leaders, and I talked to Billy Bob Buckingham. He sees the same thing in Washington County. He wants his kids to be able to afford to buy a house. So I actually think this is an issue where there is maybe rare, overwhelming bipartisan support. I mean, the Rural Rental Program has built housing in Rumford and Madison and all kinds of districts that Republicans and Democrats represent. So I think this is an issue where Democrats and Republicans can come together, and budgets are about priorities. So investing $100 million a year, I think, will be a priority in which we can convince legislators on both sides of the aisle to agree.
So do you come right off the top of the budget then?
Yeah, I mean, as the governor, you have to put together a budget, and I know that that first budget will be challenging. I mean, we're dealing with federal cuts, but I think that if we don't build this housing, the rest of our economy can't grow. It adds to healthcare costs to have people not have decent housing. So my job will be to figure out where do you come up with $100 million, and it is a commitment I have made and one that I plan to fulfill.
Do you see these as public-private partnerships where the state would be investing in projects like Kevin Bunker and
Yeah,
other developers?
I mean, the good thing about housing is that it is often a partnership. It's a partnership with communities, with private developers, and it's something government can't do alone. I mean, government doesn't go out and build homes. Government partners with the private sector. So, you know, we have nonprofit developers, for-profit developers, we have communities, we have small groups in towns like mine that work to build housing. So this is about partnering and figuring out how do we really leverage the best of the private sector to get this done.
And you have a price tag on the apprenticeship program. You proposed 100.
Yeah, I mean, apprenticeships, we actually already fund them in Maine. We fund about 500 a year. I think they cost about $6,000 a person. And it is about helping young people. Pre-apprenticeships are often high school and college students. Apprenticeships are about helping employers train people on the job. So what we've seen already with construction apprenticeships has been wildly successful. Everywhere I go, people are like, we need more. This is how you train people and how employers have the resources they need to train people on the job.
You mentioned free community college. That isn't universally loved by some Republicans anyway. And
Yeah.
obviously it didn't get funded last time.
Yeah.
How do you bring that back into the fold?
Yeah, I mean, I think free community college, actually, where I go, Republicans and Democrats love it. I think right now we have free community college, but it's ending after this budget cycle. And so I think that there is broad support across people in Maine. I mean, for young kids in high school to know they have the opportunity to go to college, whether or not their families can afford it, that is a big deal. And frankly, it doesn't cost us that much to continue it. And this is how we train people. This is a low-cost way to get a higher education degree, and it's where a lot of people are becoming plumbers and electricians, where we get the kinds of skilled trades we need. So I think this is a no-brainer, and I think you'll see support from the legislature to make this happen.
Would you rule out raising taxes to pay for some of these things?
I mean, I think all of the next governor is going to have to figure out how do we deal with cuts coming from the federal government. I don't think we know how that will all pan out. And I know coming in this will not be easy. I think that moderate and low-income Mainers are already paying too much in taxes. Frankly, when I was out talking about housing, I heard from a lot of people that property taxes were also too high. So I think the next governor needs to figure out I think the next governor is going to need to figure out how do we balance, and frankly, I would support exporting more of our tax burden to people who visit here in the summertime, to people who own second homes, not having year-round Maine people pay for it.
On reducing evictions, obviously landlords evict people because they're not paying their rent.
Yep.
What burden would that put on landlords?
So we've already had a fairly successful eviction prevention program, and it's actually about helping people pay their rent. I mean, obviously landlords need to get paid, but for the people who are having a hard time paying their bills, right now they're actually going to be choosing between healthcare and food and rent and everything else. So the kinds of eviction prevention programs that have worked in Maine are actually about supporting families, making sure people can get to work, and making sure, whether it's a car that gets damaged, that, helping people with those little challenges that kind of often knock families off kilter.
The report you put out, 84,000 units. We were with the governor in Brunswick at that project. She said 6,000 have been built, are under construction, or in the pipeline. So that still leaves quite a big number. How do you hope to accelerate the pace? With a $100 million fund do that? Or?
Well, and so I think one thing is important to say is when we talk about 84,000 housing units, government's not going to pay for all those housing units. I mean, we do build housing every year. People build their own homes. Developers build homes with no government subsidy. So some of the homes do need some subsidy to be affordable, and that's why we have this rural rental program, why we invest a small amount in ownership. But we need the private sector to be building a lot of these homes with no subsidy. To meet that 84,000 number, we need to about double the pace of housing production. So there are, again, 5,000 or 6,000 homes in Maine built every year with no government subsidy. We need to make it easier to build those sort of market rate homes that people were going to build anyway, and then we need to figure out how do we better leverage public funds to get more homes built.
So is the zoning law that the governor signed affect those laws? Is that working?
Yeah, I mean, the legislature has embraced a series of reforms, to a lot of them to let people do more of what they want on their own land. So you can now build an ADU in your backyard. You can now put multiple units in a historic building. That is good news. I think helping communities implement those laws, I mean, this isn't about towns being the bad guys. It's actually about helping towns figure out where do they want to build more homes, where are the growth areas, how do they put infrastructure in so we could build housing. So a lot of it is land use and zoning, but also really partnering with towns. Because where I go, municipal leaders are like, we need our downtowns to be vibrant. We need young families to be able to stay here. They want to solve this as well.
You said up there in your first year you want to solve the homeless veteran problem.
Yep.
Pretty bold statement. How are you
Yep.
going to do that?
So, I mean, the good news is, I will actually say, so many people have been working on this for years. I mean, the Department of Veterans Affairs, people in Washington, people on the ground in Maine, have been housing homeless veterans. Right now, the number of homeless veterans is between 1 and 200. So when you hear a number like that, you're like, we have to be able to solve this. I mean, I was just on Tuesday on Veterans Day at Kevin Bunker's new project in Rockland. Several veterans have just moved in there, including one who was homeless. So it is just about doing the hard work to make sure every one of those veterans who is homeless finds a place, and I know we can make that happen.